Thanks for the follow.
Thank you for the follow, Blue Raven 1987. I'm just setting things up at the moment. Trying to get things going for tonight. Who's me? You learned to crochet last year. Enjoy what you made. Nice. Well, I'm glad you have liked it. I have been crocheting for around 20 years now, and I love it. Tonight's stream and all of the month of May, we're going back to basics. So, kind of like a recap, and I know there are a few people that have never crocheted before and they were interested in it. So, hey there, Crojo. So, what I'm going to be end up doing this month is teaching the basics. So it's a good refresher. As the month goes on, we're going to get a little more involved with the basics. So the first, let's see here. The first 2 weeks are going to be really basic. And then we're going to get more advanced. And then the end of the month, no, allergies are still there. Um, so let's get to the end of the month. We're going to do stitches like the puffs and the bobbles and the popcorns and picos. And there's even some somewhat basic stitches that I've never done before that I'm going to learn in the first 2 weeks, so I have it ready for the end of the month. We're going to do one stream, and the end of the month we're doing the bullion stitch, the loop stitch, and the Solomon's knot. And then at the very end of the month, I'm going to show how to read written patterns and how to read diagrams or charts. So your question is for next month, as it's about lettering. What do you mean about lettering? I mean, you can ask any question you want at any time. It doesn't have to pertain specifically to what we're doing on each stream. Feel free to ask. If I don't know it, then maybe someone else in the chat might know it. Or we'll try to find the answer for you. Oh, just setting things up. Alrighty. I know there's one of my followers is going to crochet along with me tonight. They have never crocheted before. So, I don't know about crochet, but I know with knit, you do lettering through color work or switching to purl for the letters. You can do lettering with crochet in a couple different ways. You could do, you want to add lettering to your work. I have a hat that is light green to create for my sister. She wanted me to use a 3.5 millimeter hook. Her name is 5 letters long, so how to put that into a hat. Um, you'd have to play around with charts and measurements. You can add lettering in Crochet and Tarsha, where basically is similar to what Sarcastic Yarn Hoarder said about color work, where you got multiple little bobbins and you do your stitch, your main color, and then you keep it attached, but you drop it, and then you pick up another color to do those stitches. You'd have to play around again with charts. You could also, so you said a hat. Okay, I was gonna say corner to corner, but that's not gonna work for a hat because it's gonna be too big. Um, that was what I was gonna say. Embroidery. You can, after it's finished, take a yarn needle and your color of yarn and stitch it. You could also do cross stitch, so either form it in X's, or you could do other types of embroidery stitches like running stitches, stem stitches. If you know anything about embroidery, that would probably be the best for a hat. I would say would probably be embroider. Back, yes, back stitches. There's all different types of embroidery stitches. Oh, and hey, Clay Miko, how are you? Let's see here. Hat using a 3.5 millimeter hook. It's 70 chain stitches and 30 rows up. Okay. Yeah, you'd have to. I've never put a name on a hat before. And obviously, if it's a hat, the name can't be too big because that's all you're going to see is a big name. Um, and you don't want the letters to be too big where you have to like walk all the way around the hat to read it. There's the only ways I can think of. Probably best to do some type of embroidery. Okay, let's. Um, I know my one viewer was going to watch the stream because they wanted to learn. So I want to, before I begin, I want to wait for until at least they're here. Hey, Melissa Panet, how are you? Oh, no problem. I think you would make a I would make a long chain stitch of your contrasting color and stitch it down to make her name in cursive. Yeah, you could do that. You could just do a long chain, make really long, and stitch it down. And then if you have excess, you made excess chains, you can always cut it wherever, and that's a possibility. I would look into either that or embroidery stitches because you can get real detailed with different types of embroidery stitches, and it doesn't have to be. You can do it in your yarn. It doesn't have to be in embroidery floss or anything that's traditional embroidery. Okay. Um, Alrighty. Was thinking that the chain would give more to it than just the yarn, so it would stretch with the hat instead of pull. Actually is a good point. That does make a good point. You could always do a couple different examples and then find what you want, and then if you're careful, cut out the ones you don't want, or do a little test. Do a little swatch of it. Uh, just waiting for my one follower, so I don't want to get started and then them show up and have to start all over again. We're going to cover appliques and how to stitch them together. Hold on. Okay, Claymiko. Um, we could. I've never done crocheted applique, but I think that wouldn't be that difficult. You had trouble stitching a llama together. That's something I'll have to look into. Again, I've never done that before. Okay, so I think we're going to start here with the stream. Yeah, that would be something I would have to
Thanks for the
look
follow.
more into. Thanks for the follow. Not no, I'm Jaden, and welcome. Okay, so tonight's stream is probably going to be a short stream. Again, I'm not feeling too well. It'll probably end this around 9 Eastern. So in about 50 minutes or so. One thing I also want to um, bring to everyone's attention, and I don't know if it's going to work or not. I changed a little setting in here, and I think I don't know how often. I think maybe every 30 minutes. It's going to play a ad. Hopefully it'll work for about I think a minute and a half, and it will give me a notification of when the ad is going to start. It'll give me like a minute notification, so I can stop what I'm doing so nobody misses anything, and then it should resume. Fingers crossed that I have it set up the right way. So we're going to do the chain stitch, real basic introduction to crochet. So we're going to put our hook to the side. We're going to take our yarn and we're going to form a slip knot. The easiest way that I can show you how to make a slip knot is take your yarn, have the end pointing towards you, form a loop. So wrap a loop and have it cross over top of your strand. So your strand's here. And then that same strand, that same piece, bring it back around and lift that loop and put that loop over top of your strand. So again, we've got our end here, form a loop, and when you form the loop, you're going to form it by bringing it on top of your tail. So it's like the letter P. And then the part that crossed over, we're going to bring around again And the loop we just made, lift it up. It kind of helps to hold where they cross, lift it up, and put it over top of what we just had. Hey, Nor Fairy. And this is what I call the pretzel, because it looks like a traditional pretzel shape. Okay? So we've got our pretzel, and we've got the 3 holes of the pretzel. So starting in the right hand hole, put your hook in the hole underneath this strand and up to the next into the next hole. So you're going down on the right under that strand and up to the middle. And when you do that, with your other hand, hold on to the tail and the strand coming out of this pretzel. So you're going to hold both of those together, pinch them together, and then with your hook, pull up, and you've made a slip knot. That's the easiest way to show a beginner how to make a slip knot. I'll show that one more time. You've got your tail, make a loop, put it over top of your tail to form the letter P, P for pretzel. Take that same strand and move it over again. The loop from the P goes up and over top to form a pretzel shape. And in the right hand section, put your hook underneath that, up, under, into the middle, and then with your left hand, if you're left-handed, if you're right-handed, you're obviously going to do this with your right hand. If you're doing left hand, if you're left-handed, you do everything mirrored. So your hook, your hand that does not have the hook, you take your tail and your strand coming from the pretzel, pinch them together, and take your hook and pull it up. And that forms a slip knot. Once you've got the slip knot, you've got a loop here, and with a slip knot, if you pull one strand, it's going to tighten it, and you can loosen it. If you pull the loop, you can make it bigger. So you're going to keep your hook inside of your loop, and you can tighten it up a little. You don't want it too tight, roughly about that size. You don't want it so snug that you can't do anything. So you want to have it a little open. Now the way you hold your hook and your yarn is all a personal preference. Some people hold their hook like a pencil. I can't do that. I am one that holds it like a shovel or a knife. I think they call it like the knife grip. Either way is fine. You can hold it however you want. With your other hand, you're going to tension your yarn, and there's different ways of doing it. It does not really matter, whatever works for you. The main thing is you're going to want to hold on to the knot that's here, that's formed. The way I do it is the tail is hanging down towards me. You're going to let the tail just hang. With your non-hook hand, I put it over top of my index finger, under the next two, and over top of my pinky finger. You could do it however you want. This just happens to work easiest for me. The main thing is you want to hold the hook, the knot that's here, or the strand. I recommend the knot because if you pull the strand, there is a possibility you can lengthen your loop. So with my thumb and my middle finger of my non-hook hand, I'm pinching that knot. The way I do it is when I pinch it, I've got this strand that's here. Again, with time and preference, you might hold it differently. So now we have formed this triangle. We formed our strand is one side, my index finger is another, and my thumb is the other side of the triangle. So we have a triangle. And your hook is in the loop here. It should be able to move freely. You don't want it too tight. With your hook, the hook has a part that is the hook. So the way I do it is I have the hook part facing up to the sky. And I will place the end of the hook in the triangle. So in between my thumb and the strand of yarn. And then I'm going to pivot it under the strand of yarn. So I'm going to put it in, pivot under, and that hook will now grab onto the strand. And you're not going to hold the yarn that's in your hand in between your fingers. You're not going to hold it with a death grip. You're just going to guide it. You want it to move through your fingers. And it's grabbing that strand. It's grabbing this strand here. And when I do this, when I pull it towards me, I'm going to rotate that hook to the side. I don't know how well it's going to show up because it's shiny, because it's metal. So again, we're going to put it in, grab that strand, and once it's grabbed into the hook, I'm going to rotate. And then I'm going to take that hook that's grabbed a hold of that strand and pull that strand through the loop that's here. Pull it through. That's a chain. I'm going to show that again. So we've got our slip knot and we've got our triangle formation. Put your hook in and under the strand. It's grabbed a hold of it, and then I'm going to rotate the hook so it's pointing to the left in my case. And then I'm going to pull that strand that it's grabbed onto through the loop that's on the hook. That's a chain. And then we're going to do that a number of times. So you repeat. So go in, grab the strand, rotate it, pull that strand through the loop that's on the hook. And every time you make one, you can always readjust your thumb and your middle finger to get a little closer, to give you a little more, make it easier to hold on to it. I gotta resize this window real quick. So now we're gonna put it in again, grab the strand, turn it over to the side so the hook part is not facing up, it's on its side. Pull it through the strand. You're going to pull that strand on that edge of the triangle through the loop on your hook. So then you're going to repeat that over and over again. If you're just learning how to crochet, I recommend practicing this. Just chain and chain and chain and chain 20, 30 sometimes. If you're starting out, this is what I recommend. And don't worry about giving them even. Mine are going to be even. Don't worry if they're even or not. When you first learn, they're not going to be even. Just get used to the process of putting the hook in, going under the strand, turning the hook, and snagging that strand through the loop that's on the hook. Essentially what you're doing is you're making a braid. Somewhat of a braid. That is the chain stitch. It's the basic stitch. It's one of the most commonly used stitches. You're going to use it a lot in a lot of different patterns. So you do a bunch of stitches. I recommend about 20, 30 or so. I've done more than that. And then when you get that done, rip it all out. And we're going to start again. So you're going to form your slip knot again. And I'll go over this one more time for a slip knot. Again, if I'm going too fast for anybody, let me know. I got to check on something. You're going to have your tail going like this. Move the loop over and form the letter P by crossing it over. Bring your strand over, lift the loop over top to form the pretzel or the bow. In through the one side, up through the other, and then pinch your two strands together, and then with your hook, pull up. And again, however you're going to feed it through your hand, whatever works for you. And then we're going to pinch or hold the knot that you just made to form a triangle. I've seen other people do it. Some people do it, they do it like this. And I can't do that. And they pinch it with their thumb and their ring finger. I can't do that. Some people only go over their index finger, which is fine, but I like having it over my pinky. It gives a little more control and it evens up the tension. And that's just something you're going to pick up as personal preference. So we're going to do the chain again. So again, put the hook in under the strand. After you've snagged it, you're going to rotate it towards your hand, and then you're going to pull that strand through the loop. And repeat. Put it into the triangle, grab the strand, turn the hook so the hook faces inside the triangle, and pull it right through. And then repeat. You're just going to do a series of chains. If you're starting out, like I said, just make chains and make chains and make chains. You don't have to go as fast as I'm going. Just practice the technique of making the chains. And we've got about 30 seconds left and an ad will start. Hopefully this is going to work. Those of you who are subs, probably they might not see the ad. I'm not certain. I've never run the ad like this before. So we will see. And we're going to stop there until the ad is done. Um, it says the ad is starting soon. Give me a second. Um, Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Okay. Am I back? If I'm back, can anybody let me know? Okay. Thank you. That's the first time running a mid stream ad. So I'm hoping it all went to an ad for everybody without the subs. Obviously the subs probably didn't see the ad. Um so hopefully that worked. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the slip knot one more time. So however you do the slip knot is up to you. There are different ways of doing it. I just think that this is the easiest. I got to adjust my window here. So I got the tail here, vertical. We're going to take the loop. Oh, and sorry, Fairy Dust. I didn't answer your question. I'm doing good. You had 9 ads. Okay. It all depends. I think I think it was 3 minutes. I think I set it up for a minute and a half, but I guess it's 3 minutes. But anyway, the reason I'm running ads now is so I can get some revenue. If you run ads, mid-roll ads during your stream, however often, then and you can do X amount per hour or whatever, you do get some revenue from that. I just realized how to do it the other day, how to enable it. So again, for the slip knot, we're gonna have our tail in front of us like this. We're gonna keep it vertical, and we're gonna take our strand, bring it over, and we're gonna flip it over, and we're gonna form the letter P. And with that same strand, so we're gonna leave our letter P. This strand here, we're gonna bring it over. So you're gonna like wrap it around again, and take the round part of the P. We're gonna lift it, and we're just gonna move it and put it on top of the strand. So now it forms the pretzel. So if you're right-handed, now if you're left-handed, you're obviously going to do this in reverse. I'm not left-handed. So you're going to take your hook in your dominant hand, put it into the side of the pretzel. So I'm right-handed. I'm going to put it into the right-handed hole of the pretzel under this strand. So under this strand, I'm going to lift it up and put it so it comes up through the middle. With my non-hook hand, I'm going to grab the strand, so the tail and the other strand coming from the pretzel, pinch them together, and I'm going to leave my hand on the table, and I'm going to take the hook, and the hook is underneath that one strand, and I'm going to pull it up. That forms a slip knot. When you get a little more advanced and figure out how to do it, you can do it in your hand. And I'll show you real quick the way I do it in my hand. There's many different ways. So I do the same thing, but in my hand. So I'm going to bring it up, cross it over, and there's a pretzel. It just happens to be in my hand instead of on the table. So again, I'm making the P. That's the P right there. And then we're going to put it underneath to form the pretzel shape. In there, up there, and then there you go. So that was the slip knot. I mean, not the slip knot. Yeah, that was a slip knot for the chain. So now we're going to do the slip stitch. So to do the slip stitch, I need to have something to do it into. So I'm going to do a chain. I got about 15 chains. And to do the slip stitch, what you're going to end up doing, you don't have to worry, and if anybody's crocheting along with me, and if it's more advanced and you're just starting, only focus on the chain. You don't have to go to the slip stitch right now. But I'm just going to show this. So wherever the pattern shall say we're going to put a slip stitch, wherever it's going to go, we're going to put the hook into the stitch, and with the chain, it's made up of 3 strands. And I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, but a chain has got the 3 strands. And you're going to insert the hook into the chain. There's different ways of inserting it into the chain. Don't worry about that right now. So you're going to put it into the chain, and if it goes under 2 of the strands, there's 2 strands of the chain on top of my hook, and on the bottom of the hook there's 1 strand. It doesn't matter which one. If the pattern will tell you where to do it. But for this purposes, we're just going to go in. We're going to go into the stitch. Again, we're forming that triangle again. And we're going to grab the strand and pull it through the stitch. And to do a slip stitch, we've pulled it through the stitch. And now we're going to pull that same loop that came through the stitch. Is going to go through the loop that's on the hook. That's a slip stitch. This is common when you join rounds. If you're doing it in the round to join it up. It's also used in some decreasing stitches. So then the next stitch, I'm going to do another slip stitch. So I'm going to go into the stitch, grab the strand, bring it through the stitch, and now I'm going to take that same loop that came through the stitch. I'm going to put that loop through this loop. And to do that, you're going to take your hook and turn it a little bit, because if you keep going like this, it's not going to work. You just turn it a little bit, and you just bring it through like so. That's the slip stitch. So again, one more time, I'm going to go into the stitch, grab the strand, and bring it through the stitch we just went into. And now we're going to take that loop that just came through and go through the loop that's already on the hook. With crochet, this is something I should have said. With crochet, when you finish a stitch, when you're completely done the stitch, you will have 1 loop on the hook. That's how you know you're completely done the stitch. In most cases. You're going to go in, grab the strand, pull it through, and then you're going to pull that same loop that just went through the stitch. You're going to take it and you're going to turn it. And your goal is to get that loop through the back loop. I should say the loop that was already on the hook. That is the slip stitch, because it's going through and it's just slipping through. And it makes almost a noticeable stitch. I could always touch on this again if anybody has any questions once they get that advanced into crochet. Now we're going to go to our, actually, this is what we're going to do. Um, we are going to stop our stitches for a second. And if Crojo is ready for the meme of the stream, I will do the meme if she's ready. Take your time. Oh, excuse me. Okay, we are going to go to the meme of the stream. If you had to choose between having time to clean or crochet, which color yarn would you use first? Yes. The answer is yes. Uh, Thank you, Crojo. Okay, so we're going to close that. I'm going to do it now. I need to save the meme. I've got a meme folder. And I need to upload it. Yes, my answer is all of them. That's why I said yes. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to upload it to. Oh, I got a couple others to upload. Wait a minute. Um, One thing I've noticed since I started crocheting, crocheters are eager to help people learn the craft. Oh yes, we are definitely um, very giving when it comes to um, teaching others or encouraging others. Okay, I gotta check something real quick. I need to upload some of these. If I don't do this now, I'm gonna forget. I'm gonna upload previous memes of the stream to the Discord channel. Oh, and we're gonna do the one that Crojo just sent tonight. Okay, they're all uploaded. All right, so for our third one for the night, let me just double check something. This is a little more, I wouldn't say advanced. I didn't learn this until recently. The Chainless Foundation Single Crochet. Now, I just showed how to do the chain, and I didn't really show how to work into the chain. That comes on um, Thursday when we do the single crochet. I briefly touched on it when I did the slip stitch just now, but Thursday when we do the single and the double crochet, I'll show more how to work into the chain. And there's nothing wrong with working into the chain. But sometimes what will happen is that when you work into the chain, if your chains are... Thank you, Clay Miko. Wait. When there's a knit conversation one night, you'll send a knit meme. Oh, definitely. So when you work into the chain, sometimes if your chain, your foundation chain, is a little on the tight side, depending on the stitch or whatever, and how you crochet, sometimes the foundation chain can curve a bit, or it could be a pain sometimes going into that foundation chain. So I'm going to show you how to do the chainless foundation right now. The one benefit, well, there's two benefits I can think of. One is, now mine has curved a bit because I'm just literally the past couple of days learning how to do this. And and as Clay Miko knows, I am a tight hooker. We have some tight hookers in this group. I am one of those, I admit it. So I will have to work with that. It's not going to be as tight as some of regular chain, working to the regular chain. So one of the benefits of this, you don't really have to worry about counting all those chains. Because sometimes if you're doing a blanket and you got to do 200, 300 chains and you lose count, well then, A, yeah, you could put stitch markers in. Or B, you could do X amount and then write on a piece of paper, make a little mark. Okay. Well, with this, you make the chain and the single crochet pretty much in the same motion. So this works if you're going to do a pattern where it wants single crochet right into the chain. It's not going to work on patterns where you do a stitch into a chain and you skip X amount of chains and do a stitch. It's not really going to work that way. But if the first row is nothing but single crochets, this is great. The other benefit is it provides some stretch compared to a chain that doesn't have stretch. So I'm going to show you how to do this. You still will have to do chains, but you're not going to do all your chains at once. So we're going to do our slip knot like I just showed. And we're going to chain 2. So yes, it's chainless foundation, but you will start with 2 chains. So you're going to chain 2. And then in that very first chain, not the one closest to your hook, the first one you made. So what they say in crochet is the second chain from your hook. So the first one you made. No matter what stitch I do for a blanket, I almost always do the first row single crochet, then start the fancy pattern. That can work depending on the pattern. Like the other night with a crocodile stitch. I guess you could do that, but actually probably wouldn't work because it would probably be noticeable. Since the crocodile stitch is a 3-dimensional one, it would probably stick out underneath your first row of scales. But a lot of patterns you can do that, because I know it's a pain to count to count chains. So in the second chain from the hook, so it's the first chain you made, you're going to insert your hook. And if anybody's crocheting along with me on here, let me know, and I can go slow. So we made our 2 chains. The second chain from the hook, insert your hook, bring up a loop. So you get two loops on the hook, just like regular single crochet. The trick is, so we've gone up, we've pulled up a loop, and now we're going to chain 1. So that means we're going to pull a loop through the first loop. So that was our foundation chain. So when we make this, I should have said this, when we make this, as we're making it, we're going to be making it like this as we stitch. Instead of stitching rows back and forth like this, our row is going to grow this way. So right here, this will be the edge of your row when it's finished, because it'll be like this when it's finished. So we've chained 2. We did our 2 chains. In the second chain from the hook, insert the hook and pull up a loop, and then you're going to chain 1. So we've chained 1. Actually, let me do that again. Let me show you again so I don't confuse everybody. So we have our 2 chains. Second from the hook, we're going to put our hook into the chain, grab the strand, bring it up. Now we're going to do one chain. So we're going to bring up a strand through the very first loop, so that's a chain. And now we're going to do a single crochet. Single crochet is you yarn over, you bring up a loop, pull through both. That is a foundation, a chainless foundation. I don't want to say foundationless, but it's not. It's chainless foundation. Now, to go on from there, the chain you just made, because remember we did a chain and then a single crochet. So we're going to go into that chain we just made, bring up the loop, 2 loops on our hook, chain 1, so we're going to yarn over and bring it through the first loop. And now we're going to yarn over and bring it through the 2 on the hook. That is... Hey there, Big Pooh Bear. Yes, you finally got in. I know you were watching, but you weren't... You were watching, but you weren't signed in, so you couldn't contribute in the chat. But I know you were talking to me elsewhere, so... So, welcome. And I know you were trying to crochet along with me and to do the chains. Again, if you didn't get it when I was doing it, you got the chain. Okay. Like I said earlier when I was talking to you, just chain, 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 chain. Don't follow along with this. Don't do what I'm doing. Okay? This is a little more advanced. When you first start, just chain. Just do a bunch of chains, rip it out, and start over. Just keep doing all that. Okay, back to this. So to do another one, I'm going to walk it through again. I'm going to put the hook into the chain that we made, because there's a single crochet right here. That's the single crochet, and to the left here is the chain. So we're going to go into the chain, bring up the strand, bring it through the chain, chain 1, and now do a single. You chainless foundation differently. There might be different ways of doing it. So again, you're going to go into the chain you just made, bring up a strand, chain 1, and now you're going to yarn over and go through both as a single. Okay, that's fine. And that's all there is to it. So I've gone through, pulled up a loop, chain 1, and now yarn over through those 2 to do the single crochet. I need to loosen up my tension a little bit. Also, even if you're going to do the regular traditional chain or this, sometimes it might help with a bigger hook. And I'm going to go one more. So I did about... Now, mine curves. Mine... Even when I do a regular... That's not a regular chain. Even when I do the regular chain and stitch into it, it still curves. But a benefit is you're not counting chains. You're doing the single crochets with the chain in the same time. And it's got some stretch. So that might be good for sweaters if you need that around like the hem area of a sweater, if you need it to have a little bit of a stretch, or around cuffs. That is the chainless foundation single crochet. There are chainless foundations half double and double, and I'm assuming there's a chainless foundation triple. But I will show those in future streams. So again, we're going to go into the chain that we made, and then we're going to chain 1. So we're going to pull up I'm going to yarn over and go through that first loop. That's our chain. And now yarn over through the 2 on the hook. And that is that. Does that make sense? And then that way, if you know a pattern needs, let's say, 50 single crochets, you don't got to worry about, oh, I need to do 50 chains plus one because you have a turning chain. You just do that 50, you chain two to begin, and then you do your chain and your singles 50 times. You just count as you go. And then the tops of the stitch, now that right there is the chain, the chainless. That would be the bottom. And then the tops here are your single crochets that you can work into like normal. And I will show you. So let's say that's the length that you want. Now to um go back, if you're gonna like work into it, you're gonna chain one and then you're just gonna flip it over and then work into your singles as you normally would do regular single crochet. And again, I need to work on the tension with it, and even you stretch it out, it will do that. Okay, in about a couple seconds, we're going to have another ad break. I'll be back. It's at a couple seconds. Um, yeah, there's a delay. Fine. Oh, Oh, you don't see commercials. Oh, okay. Yes, I'm excited for Saturday. We got about 17, 18 seconds left. Okay. Should be coming back. Okay, I think I'm back. Um, okay, Crochet said, am I going to show us double, triple, and triple, triple? Yes. Those are less commonly used stitches, but I will show them. I've never seen a triple treble stitch in a pattern before, but I will show you. Yeah, I'm excited for Saturday. Saturday, a bunch of us that I know personally and locally here, we are going to a sheep and wool festival. So we're going to see, they're going to have a whole bunch of stuff for sale. There's going to be yarn and finished items and other types of accessories and tools and all of that. They're going to have, make certain I say hi to the alpacas for you. I will. Um, Tallest I've seen in the pattern is double triple, and that was doing cable work. Yeah. They're going to have food. They better have food. They're going to have demonstrations. They're going to have herding demonstration. They're going to have shearing demonstrations. Um, no, Crojo, I answered that. I thought I answered that. Yeah, yeah. I'll show you how to do double triples and triple trebles. Maybe you were still in an ad break for some reason. Yeah, I thought I answered that. Yeah, I definitely will show those. Um, so at the festival, they got demonstrations, like I said. Um, they have a herding demonstration, shearing demonstrations. I think they're going to show weaving and knitting and crocheting and spinning. I think they might even have, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong. I think they're going to have some machines. I could be wrong. The a sock knitting machine, which is like a circular knitting machine but smaller, thinner metal needles. They're gonna have breeds of sheep and alpaca that you can see. They're gonna have all different stuff. So I'm excited. Hopefully my allergies will be a whole lot better by then. Okay. So what I'm gonna be doing now for the next, I think the next 20 minutes or so, I'm just gonna make some granny squares for my group um, donation idea project that I came up with. Yeah, I've never been to a sheep and wool festival. 2 weeks ago, we went to a fiber festival, and all they really had was yarn for sale. They had some finished items, and I think they might have had a couple places had a couple tools. I think one had some yarn balls. They might have had something else. I don't even remember seeing any hooks or needles. They had one little group that were doing Viking Bronze Age demonstrations of spinning and weaving, and they had a small little petting zoo. They had stitch markers. Yeah, but I think the one we're going to go to, it's their 50th year, and it's much bigger than the one we went to in previous weeks. And that's a thing. If you have caught any of the YouTube watch parties in Discord that I've been doing for roughly a week, any nights that I don't stream here, I have been doing real short watch parties, or each video, I think the longest one was maybe a half hour, if that. And it was showing, they're all different videos from different YouTubers, showing the steps from animal to yarn. And tomorrow in Discord at 8 o'clock Eastern, I'm going to have our last. Okay, Klimiko, good night. I'll chat with you later. Tomorrow in Discord at 8 Eastern, I'm going to have the last viewing party. We're going to watch videos on spinning, real basic spinning, not involved on how they spin yarn. Real basic spinning, plying, that means taking your spun yarn, your singles, and taking two of those and plying them together to make a stronger, fluffier yarn. There's different reasons why they do that. And then a video on setting the twist so it doesn't come unraveled. So that will be our last watch party. If anybody's interested, if anybody has not caught any of those watch parties, if you're a member of the Discord, and again, I have a Discord, in the channel that's labeled YouTubers to Watch, I've posted all of the videos that we've watched in the watch parties. You can always go back and watch those. So it's kind of not necessarily we're all going to do all of that, but kind of get an insight on how yarn has traditionally been made by hand. Fairy dust. I've been crocheting for 25 years, and just in the last 3 months, I've used stitch markers. I found a brand new world. Yeah, I usually didn't use stitch markers that often. Maybe the past 5-6 years or so, I've used them. And the main thing I've been using, and it works, you don't have to get purpose-built stitch markers. I've used safety pins, scraps of yarn, Hey Citric for Blue, and Help You Fall Down the Yarn Making Rabbit Hole. Yes, those videos will make you fall down that rabbit hole. You become addicted. So, that's what's going on for Saturday. We're going to see, at a sheep and wool festival, you'll see, not all, but usually you'll see some of those processes in person. So, I'm looking forward to it. I'm just going to make a few granny squares um, for the end till the end of the stream. Again, it's not going to be. We're not going to go a full 2 hours like I normally do. I've done this. I've been on for about an hour or so. I at least want to get one granny square done, and I got to take some allergy medicine here soon. Oh, I didn't ask everybody. What is everyone working on? I know. What is the name now? One Big Pooh Bear is working on chains because they have never crocheted before. So hopefully you're getting the hang of it. You have a big long chain. Well, if you want, you take a picture of it and you can send it to me. You don't have to send it in the Discord if you don't want to. Crochet says, the way you hold your yarn, I tried your way. I can do it, but I keep slipping the yarn off my pointer finger and placing it back on. Almost like holding hook and moving my finger to actually grab the yarn. Yeah, everybody holds it differently. There's no right or wrong way. I've been in. Oh, I added one too many double crochets. I've been in some like yarn groups and crocheting groups, and they're like, "Am I doing it right?" There's no real right or wrong way as long as you are forming the stitches the correct way. The only wrong way if you murder someone while doing it. Yeah, please don't do that. Please don't murder somebody while you're crocheting because you're going to get blood on that yarn. And we can't have blood on yarn. My whips are a baby blanket, a pair of socks, a throw, a queen size blanket for myself, and a hat for commission. Wow, you are busy. I don't have that many whips. Excuse me. The only whips I really have are the temperature blanket that I do here for stream. And again, sorry I wasn't on Sunday night. These allergies. I was just I didn't even crochet that whole day. I didn't crochet that day or yesterday. Um, so I've got the temperature blanket. I'm doing these granny squares for our Crochet Bee charity project. Oh, I have started another shawl. And I know I promised everybody I would not do that pattern anymore. But I am doing that pattern. And it's with the leftover yarn that I made the 3 shawls in, that same pattern. This is all the yarn I have left of that yarn. That's all I have. And I'm hoping it's going to be enough for a shawl for Claymiko's daughter. Because I made one, the same pattern, but in a different colorway. And I think I have enough for one more. And then I promise, I'm done with that pattern. So I've got 2 repeats. I've got to do about 6 more, and then that will be done. What other whips do I have? Just any samples that I need for stream, but I really don't have any samples for this month since they're basic stitches. I kind of just do them on stream. It's not like I have to prep anything. Not oh yeah, not just crochet whips. I don't have any other works in progress that I know of. And you said you cleaned out your frog pond. Oh, that's cool. Um, I know Crojo would like that. She likes frogs, like the animals. Everyone I have seen crochet holds their yarn differently. It's just whatever's comfortable and works for you. Consistent tension comes with time. I totally agree, Fairy Dust. Totally agree. As long as it's consistent and the stitches are the way that they should be. You sent a pic of your chain on Facebook. Okay, let me check real quick. No, reclaiming the yarn from projects that sucked. Yeah. Oh, that's what you meant by Frog Pond. Okay. Because I know you said you have sheep, and I think you or somebody in your family or as alpaca. I thought it was an actual pond, like with water and okay, yeah, I remember that you said you have animals. Okay, but no, I like that. Oh, you actually do have a pond that's mostly frogs. Okay. Well, either way, I kind of like that term, clearing out your frog pond, meaning in knitting or crocheting terms. Let me switch over here real quick. Wow, okay. Um, One Big Pooh Bear, your chain. Okay. Have you ever crocheted before, One Big Pooh Bear? Because your chains look great. They're consistent. Like, do you mind if I share the picture on screen here of your chain? If you don't want me to, that's fine. Okay, let me. This is his chain. Oh, wait a minute. It would help if I move this in front of everything. Okay, us experienced crocheters. Wouldn't you say that is a pretty good looking chain? Like, there's some chains that I've done recently that aren't that good. And I'm not just saying that. Yeah, very consistent, even tension. Like, better than most of mine, and considers yourself a veteran. Wow, one big Pooh Bear is going to upstage Crojo. Very, very good. Okay, so what I suggest is if you're around, and I know your schedule's a little different and all, um, if you're around on Thursday for stream, and again, you don't have to, you can always watch it after I upload the stream, or I know you, I don't know you in person, but I know you enough online. Um, I could always give you a little one-on-one lesson. Thursday we're doing single crochet and double crochet. Ray works like Sumo, like you want. Okay, so on Thursday I'm doing singles and doubles. You are, I would say, you're probably ready for single crochet. If your chain is that consistent and then it's just not a small section, you were chaining a whole lot. And for somebody who's never picked up a crochet hook before, you did really good. Yeah, I wasn't ready for single crochet the first night. Like, no, I like it. Crojo was actually the one who taught me how to crochet, and it was like a couple days. He could try the slip stitch. Um, if you wanted to try the slip stitch, go ahead. Loose enough to be able to get the hook in. Yeah, that's what I told him, that to get a light colored yarn, nothing expensive. He got Red Heart Super Saver. That's what this is. He got actually the same color. And I told him to get a larger hook than you normally would. He's using a 6.5 millimeter, mainly so you can see the stitches. But okay, I lost track of what I was doing. If you want, you could try the slip stitch, and if you weren't paying attention when I was showing it, that's fine. You can hold off. You don't have to do the slip stitch in order. Like, you don't have to do chain then slip. You can learn them in a different order. And again, I can always walk you through that sometimes. I think I spent 3 or 4 days just doing chains and building muscle memory. Yeah. And like Crojo said, yeah, more like a week. Yeah, it took me a while to get the hang of it. Hey there, Snoodle. How are you? Oh, I got a knot in my yarn. I am going to cut that out because this is going to be a go into a finished project. I'm okay, Snoodle. I'm just dealing with some seasonal allergies, but I'm okay. Yeah, when I first started holding the yarn, it was all foreign to me. It was all like, I don't know what to do with my hands. But that's common when you first are learning. Let's see. I think I can start another stitch. Nope. I'm going to have to join it on this first one. Okay. Yeah, well, been doing this for almost 20 years now. I better know how to hold it and how to. We were just talking about that. There is no right or wrong way to hold it. There's no right or wrong way to hold the yarn. There's no right or wrong way to hold the hook. It is mainly if you're having consistent stitches and even tension and you're forming the stitches the correct way. If you're going into the correct spots for each stitch. I think I did one too many chains back there. Yeah, I hold my hook like this, like she does. They call this the knife hold, like you're holding a knife. And then there's some people who hold it like a pencil. And then there's different ways of in your non-hook hand of how you do it. I do it this way. There are some people that just do it like this and only over their index finger. There's some people that I don't know, like there's some people that do it this way. Um, if you ever watch, and I love her channel, Krista on the Secret Yarnery on YouTube, this is how she holds her yarn. Like just between her index finger and middle finger, and I can't like I physically I can't do that. You can't do the you can't yeah I can't do the pencil grip either. I can't go in and dig. I will wait for you to show me how to go back and start the next row. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I want to finish this square, and I think we're going to measure this because I need this to be about 5 inches. Oh, we're only at 4, so I got to go around a whole other time. You can figure out the hole. Okay. Oh, you can't figure out the hole? You mean going into the chain? I think that's what you mean. No comment, Citric for Blue. I'm joking. Yeah, there's. I mean, my stream is rated mature. I mean, um, we can tell some off-color jokes in here, but working on a granny square bucket hat today. Nice. I've seen a lot of those posted online on some of these crochet groups. Working in the chain hole is the worst. Yeah, it could be a pain if you're a tight hooker. Okay, I think I'm going to go around one more time. Yeah, no comment. I'm going to go around partially so I can measure this to see if I have about close to a 5-inch square. Seriously, just start stabbing the chain and make a loop. Yeah, you could do that. You could just stab it wherever and yeah, I am a if I'm not teaching something, I am a fast crocheter. Again, that comes with practice and experience, and it's not the goal. The goal is not to be a fast crocheter. It's just something that just happens. It's not about speed. I'm not gonna. It's not like you have to be the fastest in the world. And I'm getting a knot everywhere. And in about 30 seconds, we are going to have another ad break. Sorry for all the ad breaks. When you start working rows, I do recommend using a stitch marker on the first and last stitch of the row so you don't accidentally increase or decrease. After you do it, recognize the first and last stitch. You can drop the use of the stitch markers. That's very true. Okay, we're going to go to our last ad of the night because I think we are going to be ending soon. So, in a few seconds, it should pop over. Okay, I think I'm back. I hope I'm back. Um, Hi there. Why are you so salty? How are you? Using the different holes creates different effects. And once you've made enough to recognize what you're doing, then you can learn more. Exactly. Where you put the hook will determine um, the way that stitches are going to look. Crochet is basically built on a handful of stitches, and it's how you put those stitches together to create all these um, very different patterns. Let me measure my square. I think I'm about 5 inches square. 5 1/4, that's good enough for me. I only started learning to crochet a year and a half ago. Seems like I learn more every day. Yep. Oh, I even learn more every day. Like the other last week as I learned the chainless foundation. I knew about it. I just never did it and practiced it. So there's always new things to learn. In fact, the other week when I did the crocodile stitch, which I don't know where my sample went. Oh, here it is. This is what I did the other week. I had seen the crocodile stitch and I was intimidated. I'll be honest. A couple years ago when this was somewhat popular, I was intimidated. I was like, oh, that looks too complicated. Once you get into crochet and you learn the basics, this really is not that difficult. But you need to learn. It's like with math. You need to learn your addition, subtraction before you can do your multiplication, division. Or you need to learn to walk before you can run. Same type of thing. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for tonight? Use me. Well, for that, to the side. Alright, I'm going to move this up here. I will wait and see if anybody has any questions. I have a bad habit of asking that and then moving on real quick. I've got to let people have time to type and respond. And even after your experience doing more complex stitches, it's still fun to go back and do simple. Oh, of course. One of my all-time favorite stitches that I will do over and over and over and over again is the half double crochet. I love half double crochet. I don't know what that's all about, but that's just it's one of my favorites. I like troubles, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with troubles. Depending on what you're making, if you want something that's not as open and airy, you're probably not going to want troubles because they're a taller stitch. If you want something a little more dense and compact, I'm going to move that to the side. If there's no other questions or anything, I think we're going to end up closing or winding down the stream. I need to take some allergy medicine. I will be on Discord tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern in the Video Voice Hangout room for we're going to watch a couple YouTube videos on spinning, plying, and setting the twist for yarn. And then that will complete our series on from animal to yarn videos that we're going to watch. Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, here on Twitch, we're doing the single crochet and the double crochet. And I think what is your username in here? One Big Pooh Bear is definitely ready for single crochet. After that, there will be no stream on Saturday. Like we usually have stream Saturday night, there will be no stream Saturday night because I'm going to the festival that day and I know I'm going to be tired and I need to get enough sleep that night because starting Sunday, May 7th, so this coming Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m., that's in the morning, is the start of my marathon stream. I have found a pattern I'm going to use. Actually, Grammy ETC showed it to me, and I like that pattern better than the pattern I originally had. The marathon stream is because I've reached over 100 followers, and during the stream, I'm going to start and hopefully finish a blanket to be donated to Project Linus. I'm going to take lots of breaks, obviously, and hopefully my allergies will be under control. I'll definitely take my allergy medicine. And if you're available any time of day, I'm not expecting everybody to sit there to watch the whole thing, obviously, because people's schedules and everything. Yeah, I can, where is I can get the pattern. The problem with the pattern is it's a free pattern. I'm not going to show how to do the pattern on stream. I'm just going to do the pattern. I don't have permission to teach it. Problem is the pattern is only in a chart form. It's not written. If anybody would want that pattern, I will copy and paste it right here into the chat right now. I could also post it into the Discord. It is on Ravelry. It is called Endlessly Elegant, and I can show the picture real quick of what it will look like. It is based on a square. Well, that's not what I wanted. Why can't I resize this? What is going on with my... Oh, there it is. So that is the pattern. You can make it as big as you want. There is a repeat to it. Unfortunately, it's only in a chart. It's not written for those of you who do not know how to read charts. The end of the month. Oh, it's very pretty. I'm going to do it in more of a solid color. But I did a little practice swatch at the beginning of it. It's a lot of V stitches, which a V stitch is a double crochet, a chain, and double crochet. And then there's a bunch of fans, and then I think there's some popcorn stitches. So that will be on Sunday. Everybody who doesn't know about the Discord, I have a Discord that's been popping up here and there. It's also listed on my channel. I have a YouTube channel that's also the link is on the channel. As soon as I'm done streaming, I upload it to YouTube. You're welcome, Big Pooh Bear. Yeah, you did wonderful. I will see everybody possibly tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, then here Thursday in the stream. Everybody have a good evening. Have a good night, wherever, morning, whatever time of day it is. And I will catch you later. And everybody, make certain you have a good time crafting. Not happy crafting. Have a good time crafting. You can be happy too. So I will talk to you all later.